Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I have two players that are ready to duke it out here at the StarCraft 2 World Championship Series America. As a reminder, make sure to follow us on Twitter and use that hashtag WCS. Let us know who you think is going to make it through the bracket today. To my right is a gentleman that I once called a team in and of himself. He is Polt. And to my left, making his debut in the WCS Premier League, give it up for Czech. Gentlemen, congratulations on making it this far to the round of 16. Czech, you've made it this far for the first time. You're here in America to compete. Any words you'd like to say to one of the biggest American champions, Polt, before we start?
처음으로 WCS 아메리카에 이제 올라오셨는데 미국 팬들 앞에서 아주 강한 인상을 심어준 이제 폴트 선수 상대로 뭐 하실 말씀, 경기 전에 하실 말씀 한마디 해주세요.
네, 일단 테란전은 자신 있기 때문에 2대 0으로 이기도록 하겠습니다.
I'm very confident in TVZ, so I'll win this 2-0 and go up to the winners bracket.
Strong words coming from Czech. Polt, anything you'd like to say before we get started?
This is his first time to play WCS America Premier League, so I think I have a duty to let him know how hard WCS America is.
All right. Gentlemen, if you'll please shake hands. Good luck and have fun. We're to get the vetoes squared away back to the desk.
Thanks, Clutch, and always love to hear those fine words from Polt. Of course, we're going to bring you guys the next series on Athenius. With me is Todd. Todd, my good friend, the Frenchman.
Well met.
Well met, Todd. We've got an awesome Terran versus Zerg series coming up, and, you know, Polt plays a completely different style than Bomber. I'm really excited to see where this goes, and I'm really excited to see if we have any more weird or unusual map vetoes coming up.
Yeah, this is an interesting matchup. Czech, he's a guy who kind of came out of nowhere. You know, he joined Western Wolves back then. Nobody really knew him. They were like, who is this Czech guy? Then suddenly he started playing in a lot of team leagues online, and he started taking out big names very, very quickly. He was very impressive already back then. Since he kind of fell off the map for a little bit, I feel, and we haven't seen as much from him. And I feel like this is also a player, just like Toon Ming, who can play all-ins very well, and almost as well as he can play good in macro. Like, he's capable of anything. So that makes it a tricky matchup here for Polt, who's as good as he is against Zerg. He seemed to struggle a little bit more these days. You know, we've actually seen a lot of Polt against Zerg these days.
We've seen a lot of, I almost call it PVZ at this point. Polt has played against so many Zergs. Like MLG, the runs beat a lot of games versus Scarlet. I think the Red Bull Battlegrounds a week ago, I mean, what more needs to be said? So many games against Scarlet as well. But well, we're interested to see how, I mean, you know, if it's evolved at all, if he's changed it up so far. Map vetoes don't look. Actually, I'd say Alterzim is a standard veto for Polt, but Czech vetoing Overgrowth, that's probably the most liked map normally.
Is Alterzim usually the first veto for Terran against the Zerg?
I would say Alterzim is probably the number one map you don't want to play on out of this pool against Zerg, yeah.
So what do you make of Bomber not vetoing it previously? What was the game plan?
I mean,
I
it's
thought-
impossible to decipher what Bomber wants to do.
Yeah, my theory is that maybe he was a little bit afraid of all-ins, so he didn't want to play on smaller maps, so he wanted to try on the bigger map, but yeah, that just didn't work out. So here, Overgrowth and Merry-Go-Round removed by Czech. You were surprised by Overgrowth? Merry-Go-Round is standard?
Yeah, I'd say Frost, like the two. So of the three maps that we have left, I'd say Frost is pretty standard pick. Can favor Zergs in certain spawns. King Sejong Station, I think, has been a great map for Terran versus Zerg. I've enjoyed pretty much every game that I've been able to see on it from this matchup. But Waystation, as the first map, much like the first series, our unusual, our odd one out map is going to be the first one that we start off with. And if you're Polt, you know, there's two spawns. There's that short spawn and that long spawn. And that long spawn, it is quite hard to play. Let me tell you, as a Terran against the Zerg.
I see the pain in your eyes as you talk about it. You've had quite a few tough times, I'm guessing, against Zerg in the long position on this map. What do you expect overall here? Do you expect Polt to go to his usual build, you know, the Reaper, the expansion, and then I think he gets like the one tech lab, the Viking. He starts. It's so funny because everything falls into place, you know? He starts Steam Pack quickly, he gets 4 Marauders, a Viking first to snipe Overlords, and then a single Medivac with that hit squad of 4 Marauders to try and go around, snipe some buildings, snipe some drones. You think he goes back to that?
That's just the thing is Polt has such a Swiss Army knife of his opener, right? We know that he likes to play the macro game. He's not the guy to throw out the crazy amounts of 2-racks. He loves his Vikings. We know we talk about it. We joke about it constantly, but he does a really good job of clearing out vision that a Zerg player can have in the early game. And he's one of the most difficult players to kill if you have a lead against him. Polt is a very resilient Terran. So when you look at this map, I don't think you have to play WCS too differently, but you have to keep in consideration that even if you get the short spawns, Czech is a player that can get aggressive very quickly, very easily.
He likes the 1-1 timing, from what I've heard, and throws in some all-ins here and there. And I don't even feel like it's something that he has to do, like for both him and Tunming, because they're very good in macro. But maybe they feel like against these players, being Bomber and Polt that are in their group, if you let them take a third base, you don't do any damage, and you just play passive overall, it's going to be very hard to deal with their style. Even though I guess Tunming did do a very good job on Overgrowth against Bomber.
Yeah, I mean, Tunming just brought out a whole nother level of play, and I'm hoping that we can see something similarly awesome from Czech, because Polt, and you look at this matchup on paper, is the resounding favorite. He said it himself. He's like, oh, this is Czech's first time playing in WCS Premier. I have to show him what it's all about, show him how the big boys play in this league, and these words coming from Polt, we know he's a 2-time champion, but Terran versus Zerg has been one of those matchups where lots of different players are trying everything differently, but no one's found that 100% concrete way to throw at it, because Zerg's been getting better and better, especially at dealing with those earlier Hellbat timings that lots of Terrans have been throwing out recently.
Can you imagine if Czech won here against Polt? We have Polt and Bomber in the top 16 of the global WCS ranking right now, and Czech and Tunming, they are like what, 50-something? They're almost as low as me in the ranking. So imagine if both of them here took out those two Titans in the first match. That would mean at least one of them makes it to the top 8. That would be huge.
It would be a serious upset, and this is going to be a completely different match. Aside from the players, obviously, these two guys play so differently compared to Bomber, compared to Tunming, that this match should play out in a completely different way, which I think makes it exciting in and of itself, because Polt, He's got this reputation, and Czech, he's the lesser known player. We said it's his first time in the Premier League for WCS, really his first time making a serious run in any WCS competition. This is like one of the biggest paydays that he's ever had, just getting to the round of 16. So he's the one with everything to prove. Polt is the one who's trying to maintain the status quo in this match.
Czech, he's on the Chinese team. I think he might be playing. Yeah, he's been playing in the TSL over in Taiwan.
Yeah.
And actually, a lot of those Korean players, like you would think when they move there, they're going to get probably some worse practice than over in Korea, but they still play on the Korean servers. And some of them, actually most of them, they still do very well. Like San, since he moved to Taiwan, he arguably is playing even better than he used to before. So is this going to have the same effect on Czech here? Is he going to play better than ever before? I guess we're going to have to wait and find out. I cannot wait, man.
It's a really cool point that you bring up, though, because some of those Taiwanese players play absolutely crazy that we see. You have to play against players like Haas, and you're playing in the Wei Spider is a Taiwanese team, and those guys, you get practice versus everything, and that's where these unique styles kind of come out from. When you look at players like even Tunming's style is a little bit unique. You look at the other Chinese, Taiwanese players that come into WCS America that maybe didn't make it as far this season, but of course you can't think about those players without thinking about Jim, Maxed, guys that bring their own flavor, and they get very far with it. So this is when we find out if there's anything crazy that he has saved up against a player like Polt. You kind of need to go all out, because Polt is one of those guys that will make very few mistakes. He doesn't need to do anything fancy to beat you. He could tell you at the start of the game, yeah, I'm probably going to do a Reaper expand into a starport, get a Viking out, maybe go Banshee, maybe not, and you're still going to have a hard time stopping my bio push at 13 minutes. So I feel like Czech needs to be the one to really shake things up in this matchup.
It's funny if you think about it, actually. We have 3 Korean players and 1 Chinese in this group. 2 of these Korean players, they live abroad, being Polt, living in the USA with an athlete visa. And then you have Czech living over in Taiwan. Bomber is all over the place. He's basically international. He doesn't even have a nationality at this point. He just moves around. He plays every tournament he can play. And then you have Tunming, a guy who's a bit of a mystery on one hand, but he's the only player out of those 4 that actually plays on his real ID in ladder. because he uses the Toonming ID. He's Grandmaster on the Korean server. So
In a sea of barcoded masked accounts, there's Toonming who stands tall, and that's actually really interesting because a lot of these players, you know, like when you look at players like Bomber, they're not the ones that are going to go play on their main IDs when they're laddering on the Korean server, so it makes studying them a bit more difficult. However, for this matchup, it's even hard to predict based on the map at this point because Waystation has those two spawns, and I think if we get the long spawns, I don't see a reason for Czech to try anything aggressive because it's so big that Polt really shouldn't be able to put any pressure. You can take expansions quickly. And on the other hand, if you're Polt and you get those close spawns, if you don't want to cheese because you're Polt, then suddenly you're like, well, now I have such a small distance to defend against this possible roach attack, which, you know, Czech and I would say Toonming to an extent are both players that are very capable of doing it, and it's a very powerful strategy that's defeated both of these guys in big tournaments in the last week.
the all-ins or timings that you can do, do they all contain roaches in there, or is there some Zergling Banelings? Because then even if it's long position, it will actually really surprise somebody if Czech was to try something like a mass Zergling with Banelings morphed close to the Terran base and then with mass Zerglings reinforcement.
So the thing is, the way that Polt likes to play Terran versus Zerg, like if I compare him to Bomber, for example, and you know on the Waystation game, the Alterzim Stronghold game, Bomber did not open up with Hellions. On the Overgrowth game, he only built 4. So the way that Bomber sets himself up, those Zergling plays, I feel are a lot more effective when you look at them when Toonming tries to bring that Zergling Baneling attack. Polt is the kind of guy that'll go up to 8, 10 Hellions in the early game, and he'll still transition into a regular barracks setup, but he'll have so much more map control. I feel like making early plays without roaches kind of puts you in a weird spot because you can fall behind very quickly because Polt's not the guy that's going to mess up his micro at all when it comes to those small early skirmishes.
So I guess you believe in a little thing called roach.
Yeah, roaches. I don't think there's any Terran players out there that feel happy when they see roaches at their base before 8 minutes.
Polt, though, he's shown in the past how solid he can be against this kind of attack. I think he was one of the first Terrans I really saw trying to adjust as much as he could to all those roaches and Zerglings and Baneling aggressions with like things like getting 1 or 2 tanks out, sieging them up the ramp, getting extra bunkers, just making sure he knows what's headed for him and he gets the appropriate defense.
Yeah, the game that always comes to mind, I think it was from an IEM Shenzhen qualifier. He played either versus Suppy or Violet, where he played on Overgrowth, and he did that Marauder drop build that you had mentioned before. He had something like 7 Marauders, and the 1/1 roach timing still killed him when he had like 1 tank and he had 7 Marauders, and he still died to it. So it's one of those pushes that is really, really difficult to deal with. So if you're Czech, you look at this and say, yeah, this might work, but this just getting this lobby set up for this match. And
This is a pretty cool jacket, by the way.
Yeah, it's actually, you know, both these guys actually have really cool jackets.
This is the future of esports and StarCraft. Everybody needs to have a jacket like this, man. This is absolutely cool.
Once someone finds out how to make them like super cheap, then everyone buys them. It's like magic everywhere.
We need the Nathanias jackets.
No, that would
face on the
that'd just be
side.
Pig Baby's Kappa jacket. That's all we need. All right, it looks like Czech is ready. We've got Polt ready in the lobby as well. So I'm excited to kick off this best of 3. Polt probably, out of all the 4 players in this group, maybe has the most fans, especially in the American scene with the success that he had in Season 2 and 3 last year of WCS America. So let's see what he's got. Let's see if he's switched it up at all going into this this match.
He looks a little bit nervous, which is understandable. I mean, it's his first time here, and he starts against Captain America himself.
Yeah, I'd be nervous too if I had to play versus Polt. This is a scary titan of a Terran opponent to have to go up against. So we're just loading in now, and well, the very first piece of information before we even switch into the in-game view has been revealed. I feel a very important piece as we get going here. So we've got the close spawns. Our first player in the bottom left, who may or may not build a lot of roaches this game, from Team Way Spiders, it is Czech. Trying to carry that Zerg torch. His Zerg brother is waiting in the upper bracket match. And of course, his opponent in the top right, the red Terran player known as Captain America from Team CM Storm, it is Polt.
Are you sure it's Way Spider and not Way?
Oh, man.
They have a cool logo, though. If you look like next to the hatchery, it's a small spider. It's a little yellow logo. Anyway, on this map, in these positions, what do you think would be a good choice for Czech if Polt was to use his standard build that we know all about?
Well, the thing is, taking a third base is going to be really difficult. Polt, most likely, I'd almost put money on it. He's going to take his gas very soon. He's going to go up to a Reaper, potentially up to 3 Reapers he's been doing still pretty recently. And that's a very strong way to open on this map because of how far away the third hatchery is. If Polt goes Hellion Reaper and Czech tries to take a fast third hatchery, he's going to find himself either potentially even losing a third base early on or losing a lot trying to defend it. So 2-base play is not really that uncommon. I actually wouldn't be too upset if you went for some type of either really heavy queen play to defend or maybe an early roach attack, but that could be a bit predictable, you know, if from Polt's perspective, if you can get a scout off.
You say that Polt doesn't 2-racks much. Czech surely knows that. Is there a way he can play extra greedy? Well, I guess now he's answered that, like he hasn't played particularly greedy, but could there have been a way where he would have made, like, say, hatch 16 and then pull like 17, or will he take damage against a Reaper if he did that?
I think you basically go on autopilot for the early game. Like if you're not worried about scouting, we didn't see a drone scout come out from him because you know he doesn't have that early pressure to worry about. And maybe you can get away with building your extractor before your spawning pool, but it's not that big enough of a difference if you're used to playing it the other way. So it really comes down to how comfortable he feels dealing with this Reaper because it's about to pop out. I expect to see another one queued up behind this, and this is where things, you know, this is where the doors open for Polt because once you scout that gas, you realize, okay, there's a short spawn distance and my opponent has a lot of options for aggression.
Yes, and Polt definitely should be looking to try and play it as safe as possible from there.
This sweet tweet from Sergio Laraca, WCS America 16. It's time for Melinda the Banshee. If only she can make her glorious return to the StarCraft world.
What about Melanie the Probe?
There's no Protoss in this group, Todd. Zergling's being poked back by this Reaper, and you know this is that stage of the game where Polt can say, okay, I see that your spawning pool is shimmering. You know, Zergling speed openings are not uncommon because the rush distance is small that, you know, Czech could try to do a Zergling Baneling attack. However, Polt, he's going to go up to 3 Reapers, so he's going to keep a constant amount of pressure on, and this is just a nice position because any Zergling he kills now really stunts the aggressive potential that Czech has once his Zergling speed finishes. He really wants to retain his Zergling count at this stage.
And you know, it's a very good scout because Polt, he saw that speed as it started, he saw it start. So basically he was able to time exactly on the clock when it's going to finish, which should be around the 6-minute mark. So from there, he can basically time everything he wants to fall in place to make sure he can defend, be it a bunker or just not have too many SCVs down his ramp. Maybe have his Reapers back at home at the time. Oh, he actually loses one.
Oh, that's, you know, an uncharacteristic mistake from Polt, losing the Reapers in the early phase of the game. There's so much longevity that they can nab you, and actually steps up, tries to snipe this creep tumor. He does get it. That's quite nice.
Yeah.
That's that was the first tumor planted, I believe. So that actually, that, you know, it all starts with 1, Todd. That's that can slow him down quite a bit.
Is to be careful here. Actually, Speed's about to finish in 5 seconds. I really thought that you would have played it a little bit safer. I think maybe he knows that there isn't that many links, but he's gonna get chased down.
Oh, he's got his
playing
Hellions.
with fire a little bit.
He's got Hellions on the way. Oh, well, those Zerglings. He's like, oh, turn around. We left them behind. And if these Reapers escape,
There's
my
quite a
mind's
few
gonna be
links
blown.
on the map, actually 7 right now, that are gonna chase down those Reapers, possibly kill them.
I like that Polt's actually drawing these back though, because if these Zerglings got into his got over to that natural expansion before the Hellions are out, things get a little bit crazy. I'm surprised. It's really impressive he kept the Reapers alive, and that third base gets taken by Czech. So he's starting up 10 more Zerglings, but he has that third base, and all he really wants to do is maintain some semblance of map control. If he can kill any Hellions, if he can catch any of the Hellions of Polt, then that buys him a free pass to basically drone up that third for days.
I was fully expecting a Viking to start. Oh, actually he cancels. Okay, there we go. He started the reactor and the starport. I was like, what? Polt always gets a Viking when his starport finishes. So he cancels that. He gets the Viking, and behind this we should be seeing, I think, more murders being made, a Medivac to follow up the Viking, and that one single Medivac drop to try and do some damage here and there.
Yeah, we've seen Polt go into the reactor after the Viking, but definitely not prior. So these Queens are out here, and these Zerglings, if they can catch these forces from behind, it'd be a really nice pickup. Gets just one of those Reapers, but Polt, he's continuing to produce Hellions. He's got 6 out on the map. He's going up to 8. This is what I was talking about. He likes to get this high Hellion count. You can't just take map control away from Polt. He really refuses to let it go once he manages to grab it with those Reapers. So Czech moving across the map. Polt, he's not quite in position, but his wall is up, so these shouldn't do too much. And Polt needs to watch how close he goes to this base.
Czech needs to be careful. I think Polt knew that the Zerglings could be middle of the map, so he's not going to risk it with his Hellions and try and do a run-by. A nice little wall by Czech, double Evo plus the Baneling Nest. No kind of Rotron yet or any kind of lair tech. He starts the lair now.
I really like that Czech didn't spread out any Overlords. The only one he has is behind the natural, and the Viking has not yet found that one. Polt is going to go up
No,
to...
he had another one that already died.
Oh, okay. He's going up to 10 Hellions. Now going to switch off of that reactor. But this is a lot of pressure he can put onto these queens. It's really forcing Czech to bring Zerglings into the equation if he wants to defend these bases. And now this third suddenly, the drones are all going to get cooked up here. This is a really nice pickup for Polt. He hasn't really slipped up so far in this game.
Yeah. Paul started third command center, and man, his Viking is on a mission, going all the way around the map right now.
He's on a quest.
Not finding anything.
Overlords.
Can he not see? Oh, he can see that Overlord near his natural. Why does he need to snipe it? Maybe it's next on the list.
Just mercy, right? You want to make sure you have something at the end. These queens actually kill Hellion, which is quite nice. The only thing that Polt, you know, when you look at his style, characteristically leaves him behind. The later third command center can hurt, but his SCV production has been on point because he's forced out so many Zerglings. His engineering bays are going to be late, but this drop
10
gets seen by the Overlord.
10 Hellions and the Reaper against 3 Zerglings, 6 Banelings, and 6 Queens. Okay, a lot more Zerglings on the way now.
Stim's right about to finish with these Marauders, and the Banelings are going to try to run up, but, I mean, you split Marauders versus Banelings, they're not going to do much versus that. Polt, this is a really cool little bit of pressure that he's doing. He doesn't even need to switch him in the Hellbats. He'd rather be able to micro versus the Banelings, and it is working quite well so far, Todd.
That Warcraft 3 micro, man, he's making it work perfectly right now. Czech's pulling back, he's waiting for reinforcements. Those Marauders doing so much work.
Yeah, I love it. The Marauders just soak up the damage, and those Hellions clean all the Zerglings off of them. Suddenly, only 2 Queens remain here. More Zerglings are coming out, but I feel like Polt has already done the damage he really wants to. However, he really would like to clean out the space because he's going to be behind on upgrades moving forward. He's just started his 1-1. These Hellions,
my
one
God.
more shot on these drones. That's quite nice for
Polt
Polt.
has killed over 100 units in this game already.
That's uncommon.
He kills so many drones too. 18 drones have been fried. He lost only 17 units to do this.
Very well played by Polt so far. Now he's got his 5 racks set up. His additional medevacs will be coming out soon. He's building a reactor with that starport. And keeping any of these Hellions alive is also really nice. I don't think he's gotten his armory yet, but in the later stage of the game, of course, he can turn those into Hellbats. And this Viking still scouring the map for Overlords. Not really many to find, but Polt's going to move out and take his third base. And this is where things get awkward on this map because Zerglings... You know, there's a lot of space between here. You don't wall off your natural to third on this map.
Man, that one Viking here, about to possibly get a 3rd kill. Done a pretty good job of clearing the entire map. And Polt is going for the Widowmine heavy style, I think. Yeah, he was making them 2 at a time. He's going to continue, I think.
You know, that's actually a really good point to bring up as these Marines push away these units from his third base. But Polt actually went for like really heavy 3-factory play towards the end of that MLG run, where he lost in the grand finals. But, you know, 3-factory, yeah, I mean, not necessarily versus Zerg, but his TVZ style got really cool the way he adjusted after those matches versus Scarlet. 3 factories, really heavy Widowmine production. He's a Terran that still believes in the Widowmine. He hasn't joined the Hellbat Church just yet.
And we see another factory start, so could be seeing that style here. I really like the wall on the 3rd base here by Polt, who's getting an armory, I would say, about on time. To be able to start his 2-2 as soon as possible. 6 first mutas on the way here for Czech. And I really feel like for Czech here to be able to keep on expanding while making units is going to be very difficult because Polt is going to start applying pressure. Look at the supply. He's so far ahead. He's killed so many units and lost so little in these games. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, Polt has he's controlled phenomenally well at this point in this stage of the game. The 4th hatchery is on the way for Czech, and he wants to defend this creep spread. This is really the only direction he's been pushing the creep in. The Widowmine actually gets a good shot off on those Zerglings. But the 2-2 has started, and Polt finds himself, you know, he always ends up just a little bit behind in upgrades. It's never really a crazy amount, but he somehow always manages to make these engagements work in his favor either way.
You think he's going to try to leapfrog a little bit with those Widowmines and go forward?
I think that's the best way to use the Widowmines. You want to bait the Zerg player as far back into them as possible, and if you can get them to go too far, you pick up one of your medevacs, you fly away, and you've got your next wave of Marines waiting for you. But now the drop play begins. This is the benefit of not having those Overlords, and a 3rd factory on the way for Polt. He is going to go very heavy into this Widowmine production, and, you know, I can't really fault him for it. It's good.
Good call on the 3rd factory. Polt has a lot of map vision, by the way. If you see on the top left-hand side, he's prepared some Widowmines, some units here and there to make sure that no kind of Zergling, Baneling counterattack. Ooh, hold on. Czech's going to go for it.
Yeah, he's trying to fight him on the creep. Those Banelings do not have their speed upgrade just yet, just a few seconds away, but he will step forward. And as you can see, without Baneling speed, not the scariest units in the game. Widowmine even killing a few lings. But
Medivac is going to drop in the main.
Yeah,
Czech
this
is
is
completely
really
out
nice.
of position
You know,
with
Polt,
everything.
you mentioned this. His map vision is the Zerg's vision at this point. Like, this is what you'd expect out of a Zerg player to have. And now Polt can apply so much pressure in different directions.
could
His
get the
Widow
Spire.
Mines get big Zergling connections, and he's still
He's gonna
going
go for
ham
the
in the
Spire.
main base. The plus,
He's gonna get it.
+1 attack should finish for the Mutas, but yeah, he can't build any more now. He starts up. He's got 4 Mutas on the way. He's not going to be able to add on any more now.
12
And these Mutas
Mutas.
should be able to clean up the drop.
Yeah.
But he's still on the right side. Like, Polt is not giving up. He is continuously just playing a little bit of a pressure in every direction, non-stop. Bane League speed is done, so it should be easier to engage for Czech, but how many Banelings does he have
I mean,
to
the
fight
army
with at this
supply
point?
right now, 132 to 73. Czech is gonna go for it, but there are Widow Mines everywhere. Bolt's gonna pull back. Look at this minefield.
Yeah,
How do you break this?
He's trying to run through. Czech is taking some surprisingly big hits from these Widow Mines, a bit uncommon to see these days, and it's given Polt a phenomenal position in this game. Keep in mind that Polt's been a little bit behind on upgrades. His 2-2 is now about to complete. He's about to be even on upgrades, and you've seen how well these fights have gone so far. It's only going to get better. The Overlords have spread themselves out now to catch some of these drops, but he needs everything at the front to defend because he can't even max out.
Polt has just completed Draining Claws, by the way. That's really gonna help in those fights to burrow quickly. Oh my god, there are Widow Mines in the middle of the map. The Zergling.
Zerglings come in, Banelings. Okay, the Widow Mines don't manage to detonate on too much. Still has a lot of Banelings left, and Polt suddenly needs to reel his forces back, burrow those Widow Mines, and not detonating just yet. Really important to keep those, from firing.
He's attacking at the same time. The army of Czech out of position. He's gonna have to run through the minefield here, I think.
Oh, well, there's a couple of those units soaking up a few shots, but going through the left side, he's not going to lose any of those Banelings. But you know what? That base gets picked off. Very nice and Polt in the natural at the same time, just bringing these drops every which way. And this, if you don't lose these minefields, this is where Widow Mines become really good because you just get so much longevity out of them. They completely lock down an area if the Zerg player does not have that overwhelming force.
Units lost. Polt has killed 200 and almost 300 units, whereas he has lost less than 100 units. So he's been trading the entire game extremely well.
Yeah, this has been some great play from Polt. He still has those units on the left side. He's been pressuring the front. That actually, as he cleans up on the bottom right, he's got a drop already prepared to kill this hatchery, not even canceled from Czech in the top left.
Wow.
And this is just getting worse and worse. The Spire is done again, so he's going to build 9 Mutas.
The Mutas missed the Medivac, which is dropped on the island now, so I think he's gonna go for the main next. Polt is just everywhere. His multitask
And
has
Polt
been
has
insane.
his fourth. His fourth is locked down.
He's even gonna take a 5th, I guess, soon, because he's got a bunch of commissars. Okay, this is gonna be found. He trades a little bit against
It's nice
some
to
of those
clean
Mutas.
this up, but he still trades away Mutalisks for this Marine force. And at this point, with Polt's bang, he's got money in the bag. He's not concerned about losing a few Marines here and there. These Banelings are going to come up. He still has the Marauders up front, some solid connections, but he can't press in because, as you mentioned before, that big old Widow Mine field. He's coming in. Czech wants to push this army back. The Widow Mine detonations actually help him out a little bit in this fight as he finally cleans this up, but Polt, you know, he's been brought about as close in supply as we've seen so far in this match.
The thing is, behind this, he has so much production available. He's got 3-3 on the way already. Czech is... He's not about to start 3-3 anytime soon. He's kind of broke, to be honest. He's been stuck on 3 bases the entire game. Look at his third base. 42 drones out of 24 for Czech. So he's not even mining properly here. He's trying to take one Marine, actually.
He's really trying
is
to
that Billy?
I don't know, but he's going to die.
Definitely
he tried.
not Billy.
Definitely not Billy. Billy would have had 100 kills before he got killed at that hatchery. But Polt's building 5 Widow Mines at a time, which is it's one interesting way to do it, because a lot of people would say Widow Mines aren't effective. Polt just says, no, you're not building enough. As this Mutalisk Zergling force goes over, and that planetary fortress, you walk up to a planetary, you have to turn 360 degrees and walk away, Todd. Can't attack into those. Yeah. It's not an assailable fortress.
I feel like Czech right now, he thinks he has to make something happen. I agree with him. He has to make something happen. The thing is, Polt's defense has been way too good the entire game. He had units everywhere. You see, even on his force base, he has turrets, he has Marines, he has a PF, he's ready for everything. He's going to secure a new base as soon as he can. Oh, this could be Czech's chance here to catch Polt out of position, but the thing is, the army supply is always overwhelmingly in favor of Polt.
And now his 3-3 is about to complete as well, so he'll have an upgrade advantage. You know, forget all the deficits he's had that he's somehow still been winning with. Now with an advantage, I'm really concerned for Czech as to how he's supposed to hold this off. Like we said before, he can't max out. He's got a good number of a good number of Mutalisks and Banelings, but there's still so many Widow Mines up here.
Yeah, Czech's trying to do some work here, some demining work. But, well, he's done well, I guess. The thing is, Polt is permanently maxed out right now. He's got an insane production. 8 barracks, 3 factories, a single starport, so he can make a lot of units at once. Basically faster than a Zerg can, especially because of his economy. He's actually started to accumulate quite a bank.
Polt is everywhere on this map, and you said it, he's got a nice bank. Even if he takes a bad trade, he can afford to replace everything so fast. He's getting those I really want to make sure I can't be harassed upgrades, like building armor, high-sec auto tracking. This is a good opportunity if these banelings can connect, but Polt, look at this spread from his forces behind this mineral line. He's not even able to kill all of the Marines, and he loses all his banelings. Marines with 3-3 in the natural expansion as well. GG is called. Polt takes game number 1 in rather convincing fashion, Todd.
Man, that was pretty impressive. Kind of reminded me of those old-school Brood War games where like you had super strong Terrans being just that consistent with taking bases, attacking at the same time, doing everything. That was on that level for me here by Polt. Just consistently in his opponent's face, trading very, very well here and there. Perfect macro, starts his upgrades on time, and that's his trademark. That's what he's known for. Just this overall solid and extremely strong play.
Yeah, very, as you said, solid, consistent play. And when you have those spawns on Way Station especially, that small rush distance really makes it easy to bounce around and hit all those bases at once. You don't have to wait for your army to move it across. It gives the Zerg less opportunities to spot those forces moving. And I think, that's definitely a much better game than, because with the way that Czech opened, it seemed like he had a solid setup at the beginning. But if you're in those spawns, it's really difficult to stop somebody who can be as aggressive as Polt.
You think after the success he's had in this game, he just goes back to the same? I feel like this is his main go-to build, and he's done very well with it. Lost a few games here and there, mostly to Scarlet, to be honest. But that's what he's most comfortable with. And even if the initial build in the start is kind of always the same, he can start diverting from, say, like when he starts his starport. Sometimes he's maybe going to skip the third command center for a little bit, get the E-base faster. Sometimes he can get barracks if he's afraid of some sort of attack. And that's what's so good about his build order. Like when you do this kind of build order and you have a few variants that you can do from a certain point, it's just so confusing for your opponent because he's never going to know exactly what you're going into. He has to scout. But can you scout against a guy who opens Viking first almost every single game and clear the overlords? Well, I guess it's difficult. I guess he could rush Pneumatized Carapace, but it's a big investment.
The thing is, Polt breaks all of the rules of Terran versus Zerg. If you talk to someone, if you're like, okay, I want to play Terran, I want to know a good way to play off 3 bases, they'd say, well, you want to get a fast third command center and you want your engineering base as fast as possible. Polt delays those two things. We saw them come about as late as you can really afford to get them in the matchup on that last map. And like you said, with that Viking, how are you supposed to know what he's doing if he's not getting those upgrades, those command centers? And it's up to this guy to find out, as we are loaded into Frost for game number 2. And in the blue, we have our Zerg player from Wave Spider, that sick icon next to the hatchery. It is Czech. His opponent is certainly, as Rotterdam would say, a force to be reckoned with, Todd. The red Terran player in the bottom left from CM Storm, it is Polt.
Polt, who actually was runner-up in the last 2 tournaments he took part with, the Battlegrounds North America and the MLG. So, I mean, he's been playing well, but not quite winning tournaments like he's used to here. Pretty sure he wants to change that.
Yeah, it's like, man, I'm just so used to winning the tournaments, not coming in second place. Darn. But he's still really good. You make a really good point. Polt wants to get back on the championship road. It's been a little bit too long, of course.
No gas at 12?
No, Polt's going bomber here, man. He's
going bomber.
1 barracks fast expand, kicking it old school. More and more Terran players have been doing this this build order. I like it because if you can scare the Zerg player with an early Marine into not getting that early read, like if you open Reaper, it's so easy to scout what the Terran player is doing that you can safely say, oh, it's probably not a Hellbat build or not a Banshee build, but now Polt, he's going to get his command center and then most likely take 2 gas at the same time. So for Czech to know what exactly he's going to do with that, it's very difficult to get a read on what exactly the Terran player wants to do as their overarching plan.
Yeah, but at least he's going to see the opener, exactly how Polt is opening. He's going to see that command center start here very soon.
And he can take a good point behind that, Todd, is that he can also take a fast third hatchery once he realizes that there's not any possibility of pressure because he will see this command center start and he knows, okay, I can take a third base without gas, so it's
Does
not
the
like it's
overlord
the end
die?
of the world.
Yeah, it dies, right?
Yeah, it should. I think running away, yeah, that's a really far distance to go. I would
Shouldn't
guarantee.
run away. Just go into the main,
I would
say YOLO.
I would say that it would die, but as a
Dance
Terran
it.
player, I'd be scared. I'd be reluctant to do so. There's so many times to see the Overlord get away with like 5 hit points. I think it's gonna die this time.
Yeah. Polt, though, having spotted that one, Overlord knows exactly where Czech is, so he's gonna get a quick scout as well. He sees no gas. Any chance he goes... Okay, I was gonna say into a quick third command center, I guess not. Because he starts the double refinery, as you mentioned before.
Yeah,
Is there a chance he still plays kind of greedy behind this?
I mean, you can.
After the factory is, for example?
You can go third command center. I mean, Bomber did when he did this build order. He got his third command center after he started at the factory, which is still pretty standard for this matchup.
Did he cut gas?
No, I don't think so. This was pretty much the staple way to open in Wings of Liberty before Reapers were really a thing. And
Marines are moving out.
These Marines are quite brave because if Czech's Zerglings find those...
I think he knows that Lynx might be out of position, so he's gonna try to go for...
It has to be hunting for an Overlord. Like that's what he's looking for.
This is crazy, man.
He's not gonna find anything.
Polt in his biofortress, always in the right place.
Yeah, this Marine on the right side gets
Except this
killed.
one.
There's an Overlord flying towards those 2 Marines, but I don't think Polt sees it yet.
Yeah, there is double queen in position back at home here for Czech. The Marines are
These Marines are so brave. Like,
yeah.
this is...
Look at the queens. Don't touch my Overlord.
You don't move Marines out like this early on very often, and the Queens are going to push them back. Those Zerglings, I think they should be able to kill them, but they are Marines, Todd.
The 4 queen style here by Czech. How do you like this against what Polt's doing?
I think it's fine. This, like I said, this looks like a staple Wings of Liberty opener from Polt. It's pretty much the staple for Zerg players against Terran Wings of Liberty as well. You open up with these 4 or 5 queens, you can go and take your third hatchery pretty easily. But he is going to go into double gas.
Yeah.
As you pointed out, Polt does start his third command center. Which,
And having no Overlord near Polt's base, Czech is going to have no idea. So I feel like in this situation, either he plays it standard and like he's going to fall behind economically, or he all-ins and then he will be blind, he would have to get lucky to really make it work. If this is spotted, then it really doesn't work out. So I would say in this situation, I feel like Polt has a bit of an edge, but we see Czech starting a third base. So I guess he might be trying to take some risks himself.
It's easy to get away with a pre-6-minute third hatchery when you have these 2 build orders go up against each other. And many Zerg players would have done this, in a previous game long ago. However, this double gas opening kind of kept that option open. I wasn't sure if he wanted to go into Roach play, which he can certainly do, which isn't bad on this map. But taking that third hatchery a little bit later as well, he's playing really defensively.
Well, what's Polt gonna do of all his gas? Start a starport and double E-base soon, or because he started Steam already?
He could
But
start.
no
Yeah,
starport.
he could start the engineering base really soon. Like this feels a bit late for a starport. He has a lot of gas to
Yeah, he's
spend.
making so much gas.
Yeah, I feel like he has to start his engineering base soon. He's just gonna bank a lot of gas if he just goes straight for a
Ooh,
starport.
double Reichs goes down behind it. So maybe he's a little bit afraid. He sees with his Hellions that there is some pretty good creep spread. He saw the third base. Again, he's playing against Czech, a guy who's gone for the 1-1 timing in the past, who's done all-ins here and there versus Terran. Most Terrans know that you're gonna wanna be safe against this guy. He scans now. He sees the double evolution chamber, but no key buildings like a Roach Warren or a Baneling Nest.
I think maybe Czech intentionally took his third hatchery just a little bit later to keep Polt wondering where the other money went, because like you said, this setup for him is it's very defensive to get these 2 barracks before the engineering base when you're playing against, a style that's not terribly aggressive from Czech. Yeah, he's going to have Zergling speed, but it's much later than you'd get in a normal game. So Polt, he's going to add on 4 barracks now. He's going to move into the rest of that production. And with the 2 engineering base, he's still going to have a good setup. Just, well, these Hellions pick off a few drones too. This is actually still just pretty standard, I'd say. He just has a lot of gas banked up because he's been indecisive.
Polt's base looks super clean as always. You see every building is very well lined up. He's going to start a starport now where there was already a reactor ready for that. And yeah, very quick third base here by him. Starts a bunch of depot as well.
His
The
Hellions
1-1
still
is on
shooting
the
from
way.
the high ground. That's also very annoying.
The thing is, I feel like Czech has done a very good job of denying the prevention of the creep spread. You see, like he's almost at the middle of the map already. So those Hellions, essentially, they prioritize killing some drones. By the way, they're about to get some kills here.
Yeah, he's really been using this high ground position so well. Really impressive from Polt. Even if he doesn't kill a lot of drones, like he's only killed 4.
Yeah.
But when you think about how many times the drones have been pulled away, he has to move his queens over. And whenever you take a hit on your workers, the first thing you're going to do is switch your camera to look over at what's happening. So he's distracting Czech from doing anything else that he might otherwise be doing. But at the same turn, of course, he has to micro the Hellions. Baneling speed starts up a Spire. Not the fastest Spire ever. So Polt will have, I think, a little bit of space to try to make something happen with these first couple medevacs, especially if these Hellions stay alive.
Do you think the creep spread reaching the middle of the map as quick as it is a big deal here for Czech? Is this really going to help to hold when the attacks come?
So the thing is, on this map, Polt's going to look to take his 4th base in the west side. And if Czech takes his 4th base close to Polt, then I think it hurts him because he doesn't have the creep set on the left side, which is where... I mean, Polt's going to push from this direction. He's not going to push to the center of the map for no reason because he'd have to go all the way to the 3rd base of the natural. He wants to push that 4th, so it's nice for the late game, but I don't think it gives Czech a huge advantage just yet. That's one of the reasons why these spawns are a bit better than, say, Cross. If this was Cross spawns, I would agree with you a lot more, Todd.
He's about to drop a lot of creep tumors here. And not to the west side, to the east side, I guess, of his 4th base here.
When these Marines walk up, these Queens on the east side are in a little bit of danger. Baneling speed is not done quite yet, but there's still a lot of Zerglings. And Czech's he's just going to try to fight this straight up. The Widow Mine's not getting any crazy detonations. Okay, get a couple Banelings on the right side. That's quite nice.
That one was really good.
These few seconds before Baneling speed completed actually worked out really well for Polt.
Man, that's a micro here from Polt in every one of those fights. Always making sure he trades well, I guess. There was a good detonation here by those Banelings at the end from Czech. And the supply is very, very even right now. 2-2 started a little bit earlier by Czech. You mentioned that. It's usual.
Yeah, it's like a thing where, as a Terran player, if I was talking to somebody like, look, man, upgrades are crazy important. Polt would say, no, get more Marines, get more units out of the map. And, you know, Polt's, he's a pretty successful Terran player, so it's hard to argue with him. And now he's going to add on those extra 2 factories that we talked about before as well. Lots and lots of Widow Mines. And he's moving on the right side of the map.
Yeah.
You know, it makes things a bit more difficult for himself because it forces him to fight on creep, whereas there's no creep on the left side.
Yeah, he doesn't know that there's no... Yeah, but I mean, he didn't check for a while. He didn't even see the hatch go up, so he doesn't know that there's no creep on the left-hand side.
He doesn't know where the 4th base is? No, he doesn't. That does make things interesting, because there are Zerg players that would take that upper right base just to avoid having that direct push path. And Polt, as I mentioned, that he's going to load up a medevac and send it that way. So
I'm guessing he's going to start looking for it soon.
Yeah, this is a crucial moment for Polt.
Are you surprised that Polt's not trying to take a 4th base yet? Is it too early?
I'd say, I mean, around 14 minutes if you can get away with it. He's getting close to that point. But okay, there's the command center. So he was just about right at that time. But the thing is, as he's pushing this direction, what he's fighting over is a very small amount of space. He's not yet being able to put pressure on those expansions of Czech.
There we go. The Explorer, the Medivac, that's going to look if the top right-hand side base is the 4th base. But no, it's not. So I think by now he should be realizing that it's on the left-hand side. I really like the way Polt stays at the edge of the creep here.
Yeah.
It's so hard for Czech to actually engage into this, and Czech's trying to do some demining just like before, but I think Polt's not going to allow that.
Yeah, it's quite hard. And the thing is, Polt can start to push more once this force on the top right starts to distract Czech, because he's got creep tumors at the top center of the map. This Marine on the left side is starting to do a little bit of damage, but once he sees this army, this needs a response, otherwise he can start hammering that drone line from above. So these Zerglings come over, suddenly Polt steps forward, kills a queen, kills 2 queens, kills creep tumors. This is Polt just trying to bend Czech to his will, and I think it's working out pretty well so far, because he can just step back off of the creep. These Zerglings can try to bait out some Widow Mine shots. No big detonations just yet. I think Czech's handling himself still fine. He's got a nice bank, at least of minerals. He can afford to trade some
stepping
Zerglings.
Off creep. I think Czech was really thinking about fighting here, but every time he realized that he does not want to be fighting off creep. And Polt did see that left-hand side base, or well, at least he saw one of the extractors there, so I think he knows now about the west side base, we could call it.
Yeah, the infestation pit starts up, and Polt has yet to begin his 3-3. And Medevac moving out towards the left side, but the whole Zerg army is actually headed in that direction, so he might spot it.
Not the Mutas.
Yeah.
And Polt steps on creep, and that's going to be the cue for Czech to get in there. No, does not want to move out of the creep.
And these Widow Mine shots detonating on the Overseers. These Banelings, he's just about ready to take a fight. He's almost had enough here, but that drop hits the natural expansion of Czech. He's going to force these drones away. He's continuing to hammer down these workers, and suddenly Polt's army, he can do whatever he wants at this point, because he's dragging the Zerg player all over the place. He's planted down that 4th command center, and now he's going to go clear up the rest of the creep. Polt has played this very methodically, and it's nice, it's impressive.
Ooh, he's not paying attention.
Yep, Czech's going to collect on these forces. What's very important to note is that for all the nice things that Polt has done, he has not inhibited the economy of Czech at all. Czech has a really nice mineral bank. Polt has no resources bank. Polt is not maxed out. this fourth base is very important for him to hold on to. And,
Yeah.
you know, I said it might have been easy to push the fourth if Czech before. Now the Mutas can really easily hit this mineral line.
Well, actually, there's a lot of lavas available here for Czech. 32 right now. That means if he loses this army, which when he starts fighting he will, he could remake army very quickly. He's going for a big attack on the right-hand side. I think some of it was spotted by that one Marine that was in the middle of the map. So Polt could move his army down there to make sure he can defend, but he might choose to counterattack. Oh my god, those banelings.
Yeah, this is a scary spot to be in, but Czech is still, I feel, doing.
Ooh,
he's doing
the
most.
Mutas.
He's doing most everything right. Those Mutalisks, I guess these missile turrets are going to do a really good job of holding those.
There
away
was
from
Widow Mines there, so they detonated, and lots of hit points were lost on those Mutalisks. Czech needs to wait until those regenerate. He's gonna go around. He's gonna go around that one wall here.
I think he clicked to attack, and then the wall AI moved him around. He's like, oh, okay, I guess there is something here. And this is actually really nice for Polt because the Banelings are coming in. So actually, never mind. They can hit the Marines. Youch! I thought he was gonna hit. I thought he was like, okay, he won't get the SCVs, but killing that many Marines is a pretty good trade for Czech. This drop though in the top right is gonna start working on that hatchery. There are still a lot of Zerglings and Mutalisks on the left side, potentially looking to attack that planetary. The planetaries are a scary thing to attack, Todd.
It is, yeah. Even as Protoss. The hive is up. Adrenal Glands is gonna start here for Czech. He's trying to catch up on upgrades. He started level 3 carapace, but 3-3 is about to finish here for Polt. The Ultralis Cavern is gonna start. Actually, Czech has a very scary economy. He hasn't lost nearly as many units as he did in previous game. As I say that, he's fighting middle of the map against those Widow Mines with just Zerglings. He's trying to dodge the shots. He did a pretty good job and demined pretty well, but now there is a lot of bioforces on the left-hand side. He's gonna have to send everything to defend. Czech is in a decent position, I feel.
Yeah, but there's creep here too, so Czech's gonna move in. The Zerglings come in from all directions, get the surround. There is a drop at the third base, starting to pick off a few workers, but Czech, if he can keep the hatchery alive, these drones getting shaved off, they definitely hurt, but Czech has enough resources to replace those workers if he can buy himself just a little bit of time away from Polt.
He doesn't have Burrow. That's a big problem. If he had Burrow here, maybe he could have bought some time. Made sure he wouldn't lose those drones, which are so important. Now, Polt is on 4 bases. He's lost a bunch of SCVs during that attack, and that brings him down to 60 SCVs to 84 drones. So when he maxes out, his army is going to be significantly bigger than his opponents, and I don't think he's going to slow down anytime soon.
Yeah, despite the supply lead for Czech, the armies are the same size. And Polt, he's starting to creep up onto this fourth base.
I think Czech needs to fight, trade well, and then remax on Ultras and some things, but he doesn't have that much gas.
It hurts that he lost a lot of the creep tumors here well, because he can't get on top of these forces as easily, but he's still managing to hold Polt at bay. That Widow Mine shot not bad, and is actually getting some pretty good trades out of this so far, but this Mutalisk cloud really still a scary number. 29 Mutalisks they have. Only +1 attack, but still pretty strong. I think once... Is he getting building armor? No. Okay, yeah, he is. Okay, he's getting building armor. That's going to make it a lot easier to defend against these mutas if he doesn't get +2.
Oh, the Muta Cloud here, ready to do some damage. 29 of them are going to get in there, start killing SCVs left and right. Polt is pulling back with his army instead of choosing to do some kind of counterattack. He has a double medivac drop on the top right-hand side to snipe that 5th base. There is some links and banelings ready. Polt is going to have to be looking at those units if he does not want to lose them.
Oh, look at this. The Mutas is pulling this army around really nicely, able to attack this planetary, and he's forcing out a lot of stims. He's like, okay, kill the missile turret here. Every missile turret, that's 100 resources. He is just racking up the points with this pressure. And Polt, he's starting to move in the top right with that drop. He's trying to secure a base in the bottom right.
Ooh,
These Zerglings coming in, though, towards
the
the
units
third.
are going to hit on the top right.
Czech is really starting to pull Polt around.
No,
This
he's
drop
not.
gets cleaned up. Just a single hero marauder, and he will not stand long. Kills into one of the macro orbital commands. Banelings getting in on top of these SCVs, and Czech. Everything just seems to be going right for him in the last couple of engagements. He's even getting this 4th command center for Polt on the left side, while building 5 Ultralisks.
He's doing everything right now. He's trading units well. He's remaxing as he should be. And Polt is being toyed with here a little bit by Czech. He's having to move left and right, defend all over the place. He's lost his 4th base, his 3rd base. There's no SCVs there. He's down to 42 SCVs, which is not the worst situation either. His army is still quite scary. 116 army supply to 117 is still very even. But now that he has to face Ultras, and that, I guess, he's super Marine heavy, by the way. 58 Marines and only 6 Marauders. It's going to be so hard for Polt to deal with those Ultras.
Yeah, the +3 Carapace is done, as well as chitinous plating, which means these Ultralisks are not going to die to Marine fire. Not anytime soon. He's going to need to kite back with the Marauders. He's going to need to get some good Widowmine hits. And here come the Ultralisks. Does need the Zergling support at this point, but you see that splash damage really go to town, and the Mutalisks are going to come flank. Polt's army is just dropping left and right. These Marines, they're having a really rough time facing off against this, and 5 more Ultras on the way, adding on a lot of Spine Crawlers to defend that top right base, which Polt has 2 medevacs headed towards.
Yeah, Polt knows that this is the focus point here. He needs to go for it. He needs to try and take out that base as soon as possible. And yeah, with this double medevac drop, I like the idea, but there is a bunch of links and Banelings in position. Again, this time he's gonna have to be looking at his army if he wants to have a chance to possibly take this out to come back in this game.
Yeah, this is a really tough position to be in because Czech is still going to bank resources. He's moving in on the main army right now, pushing down that left side base. Polt not able to break the top right side just yet. And these Ultralisks, the more they're allowed to fire on these Marines, the better it gets. And the Mutalisks is going to take some of these shots, but they're also helping to pick off the medevacs. And these Ultralisks, I mean,
he's looking at his army this time.
Planetary.
On the top right-hand side, he was paying attention to his army. This could be Polt's chance here to try and come back in this game. If he was able to take out that top right-hand side base.
Yeah, it's a huge amount of Czech's economy. Czech is not sitting on a nice bank anymore. He's traded out a lot of Ultralisks. He's going into heavy Zergling Mutalisk again. Even the drones being forced to fight in that topper base. That's not what you want to have to do with this place, man. Marines are good versus those things.
Yeah, drones against 3-3 Marines. Not a very fair fight. Polt has killed almost 498 units in this game.
Yeah,
so many units
really
have died,
nice.
man.
These Ultralisks, you know, Polt, he's got that bottom right base secured as well, and I think that's Polt's ace in the hole. If he can continue to be cost effective, that's really what's going to keep him alive here, because he has traded out significantly fewer resources than his opponent. He's already shown that he can play cost effective. Just matters that he holds on to his economy, what little of it he has.
Czech goes for 9 more drones and pathogen glands. So I guess since he has a bunch of gas, I mean, he's gone up to 10 gases now. He wants to get some infestors to really help reinforce his ultras to hold that army in place, because Polt has been doing a very good job of stutter stepping against those ultras. And finally, the Mutas are gonna move in and try and take out that 5th base. I think Czech knows that he has to do something against it.
Yeah, he really wants to put some pressure on, but it's hard because he has building armor, so these missile turrets are almost unkillable.
He's having a really hard time taking a decision here with these Mutas. He doesn't know if he should come back. He's gonna go for it.
He's only gonna fight 1 turret at a time at this base, which is a nice way to deal with it. He will pick off this turret, and these mules, these SCVs, are being forced away. Infestors are on the way. Pathogen glands is done. So Czech's follow-up for this is set up quite nicely. And yeah, it's planetary. He probably can't kill it, but he can force so many resources on repairing it. That's nice as well. Yeah. Those Marauders eat a lot of Banelings, but Czech he's still got a scary force, not the infestors around.
Polt's income is actually really, really low right now. He has to make something happen with his army. Czech, is he gonna go for it? He sends some links forward after a fungal. Gonna kill some of these Marauders. Oh, and the Mutas! The Mutas started dying left and right. He wasn't looking at them, he was looking at his main army. This was a diversion here by Polt. And now for a second, he was ahead on supply. Man,
Polt,
this game.
When Polt is behind, he becomes ahead. Just how it works. He got like a buff when he's below 20% health or something.
Super Saiyan transformation.
Yeah, pretty much.
He has so many Widow Mines. This is insane. 16 Widow Mines. Sweet 16, man.
That is a lot of Widow Mines, Todd. He's gonna, and this is a huge chain leading up, throwing out Infested Terran, try to bait those shots. Zerglings are gonna run into the bottom left base of Polt, but the Marines come up front. The Fungals not really making their marks, and there's still quite a few Widow Mines that are off cooldown. And he's gonna send a push to the top right to pick off that top right base once again.
And in the meantime, he's cleaning those Zerglings here. There are units everywhere on the map. I feel bad for Flo, man. She has to follow with all the action.
So much observing to do. These Ultralisks clean up a few of the Marines. And there are still some infestors, right? Just 4. So it really only needs a couple solid fungals, but this army is so pre-spread behind
this top right-hand side base, man. This is what Polt has to take out to win this game. And it looks like he's going to be able to do it.
Gets killed, the 5th base under fire. Just 2 spine crawlers and a bunch of drones. The Widow Mines ripping this Zerg force to shreds. I know I would have said Czech was in a phenomenal position 5 minutes ago, but Polt has really dug himself out of a trench of this game. And I mean, this is just getting worse and worse for the Zerg player as it goes on.
Yeah, losing his 5th at this point in the game. He has a lot of drones too. He only has money in his 4th base. Check. He's mined out 3 bases. He's in so much trouble. Now Polt is on a 5th. He could take an additional base on the bottom right-hand side if he wanted to. He's got units everywhere. He's got mobility. Those Widow Mines are trading so well in every one of those fights. And every time Czech goes forward, the Widowmine detonates, and then he pulls back, so they have time to reload as well. I think this is it. He's going for the fight. This is his last chance.
Yeah, he's going to move in on top of this army. The Fungals are solid, but with the Widowmine support, a lot of these Ultralisks will still die in the engagement, and there's not much left over for Czech once it's over.
And there is no Overseer to clean his Widowmines. He really needed an Overseer there. There is 4 Widowmines left there that are almost reloaded. He's going to try for a Fungal to maybe reveal those. No. The reinforcements are coming in now.
This next army, he won't be able to kill those Widowmines. He still has that fallback point, and he does not have the resources to reproduce all those Zerglings. Another Fungal hits, a few infested Terrans, and a lone Ultralisk will die as Polt takes game number 2 to advance on to the winner's match. He is going to face off against Tudmig.
Man, that was so impressive by Polt. I really thought he was so far behind. And then once the Ultralisk Cavern completed, I really thought that if you're Czech, you just trade well or decently well, and then you just remax on Ultra and Link. But Polt, that's not enough to kill him. He's just going to stretch you open, like he's going to force you to go back all the time to defend your bases. If you don't leave enough units to defend your 5th base, that's where he's going to focus. He finds a weakness where there aren't many, and he focuses on it. And in the end, it was enough to really pull off a comeback here.
Yeah, I was really impressed with the way that Czech was able to handle the earlier stages of that game. He got his 4th up with no trouble. He had Polt basically trading away armies for just a handful of creep tumors. And usually at that stage of the game, when you can get 30 Mutalisks on the map as a Zerg player, you're thinking, yeah, the Terran player can never attack me. And Polt,
I'm not in a bad position.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not in a bad position. And Polt, he laughs in the face of danger. He still has drops all over the map at every stage of the game, and really just did a great job of picking his opponent apart from a position that, yeah, I would have said Polt was definitely behind for a good stretch of that game.
Do you feel inspired by what you just saw? You're a Terran player yourself.
No, I couldn't do that.
Come on.
Polt's way too good. That was some really nice, clean play, though. And I have to say I'm impressed. Any final thoughts on that series, Todd?
No, just a great play here from the Czech. You know, he said that he was confident here against Polt. I have to wonder how is he feeling after this. And now he has to face Bomber. I mean, even though Bomber lost to Tudming earlier, he's still very, very good. And both Tudming and Polt showed great form in the TVZ matchup. Man, I cannot wait until later on when we see them play.
Yeah, that will be cool to see. Our next match is going to be our lower bracket match, as you mentioned, between Bomber and now Czech. So, guys, we're going to go to a short commercial break. When we come back, that lower bracket match. You're watching WCS America. Stay tuned.